Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news. Next week on Thursday the 21st is the Squadron 42 holiday focused live stream that starts at 12 PM PST and finishes around 2 PM PST. You can catch it live on twitch.tv/Star Citizen. Check out IGN as well on Wednesday the 20th of December for an exclusive teaser of Squadron 42's type stuff featuring Mark Hamill. Now, on ATV, we had the Burndown. We also had a little bit on Atmospheric Flight. So let's go through this. They are close to a live release for 3.0 now. There are currently 176 must-fix issues for 3.0's live candidate, down from around 240 last week. They are getting simpler and simpler feature issues with builds now, which are much easier to fix than code issues typically. They are fully in bug fixing and polish mode with the builds though. Mission Givers went through a full QA test run and review. Previously, Mission Givers and their associated missions weren't working properly in game. There was issues with animations and the subsumption AI looking in one direction and then snapping to look into another, which obviously isn't what they want for it. Other than that, both Ruto and Miles are receiving finishing touches. NPC ships were spawning empty as well. That's been fixed. They fixed shadows from objects that shouldn't be creating shadows. They also had a cool bug deemed the Ghost of Grimhex, where Ruto had a volume behind his hologram that could be seen when you put a flashlight over it, which shouldn't obviously have been there, but it looks like a ghost. They are doing some cool mission and traversal randomization as well, while in quantum travel, you can get pulled out by pirates or a rogue asteroid or by other means as well, and that will pull you out, and you'll have to either go back into quantum travel or deal with a problem that arises. And these are being balanced at the moment and being tested in the dev branch of the game. Mission markers and admin offices have been added in a more ergonomic state as well, so you can see where you're supposed to take mission objects to. The IFCS and ESP has been quite buggy in the PTU, so this is literally ship movement and calculating how much thrust to go into things, but also aiming with weapons where it kind of slows down your input to make it more accurate as you get closer and closer to where you're trying to aim to. Now, there was issues with overcompensation with movement and the aiming. There's been quite a lot of bug fixes that have been going into this, and they'll continue to keep on doing that until it goes to a live build. It will probably be well after 3.0's build that they'll keep on balancing and moving around, messing around with IFCS and ESP. It's a big thing that constantly changes anytime they change variables to do with flight balance or to do with weapon aiming or gimbals. Shield balance and time to kill is a big focus too currently. They've changed ship's health, armor, and shield health, and they're going to continue to change that. Charge times and shield faces will feel much more satisfying in combat as well now, with adjusted recharge times, shield hardening, and more skill for shield management coming online. With EMPs, they've done a little bit more work to them. They're adjusting some minor bug fixes. Hopefully EMPs will be a bit more balanced by the time we get a 3.0 build. Doors, ladders, and clipping issues on ships are all being worked on. Ships explode and break apart in new ways as well now. Gravlevs have had a lot of issues with them dragging on the ground, and that's been improved significantly recently, although it still has some work to go. Flight balance and atmospheric flight will continue to be balanced and polished up until 3.0's release. The Mobiglass will be getting a review once the Vehicle Manager app is completed, with all of the apps of the Mobiglass, and then any work on it that has to be done after the review will take place. Personal Inner Thought needs a couple of minor fixes and polish before being completed. Now, the 3.0 is entirely feature-locked as well. They're able to polish and improve a lot more, as well as having more resources to bug fix. So we should see those 176 tasks fall down rapidly. Serialized variable range-based culling as well had some issues identified with it. They did test it earlier in the week. This is planned to give us much better performance across the board in the persistent universe, but they had problems with desync and that sort of jazz as well. But that should be starting to go into some of the PTU builds. They were testing it earlier in the week, and they can turn it on and off in the servers now, so it's kind of ready, but it needs refining. Atmospheric flight. So atmospheric flight was talked about in a featurette in ATV. I'll just go over a couple of the points here that we didn't previously know, or some of the new information. So atmospheric flight will perform differently in atmosphere than it will do in space, and each planet or moon will have its own unique feel. They're going to have their own gravity in atmospheres, some with wind and weather. In atmosphere, you'll be using sustained thrust, as you'll always be fighting gravity with your thrusters. In 3.0, atmospheric flight means lower acceleration when you cross over the threshold into the atmosphere anyway, and they'll be adding drag and more features in the future. Typically, ships will have 2.5 times less performance in atmosphere. There will be VTOL thrusters in the future too, and they'll be tweaking all the thrusters constantly. But current thrusters that are being tuned for 3.0s will have wind and turbulence simulation, and in the future this is going to be much more accurate, but aerodynamics of ships are going to play a big part in how ships fly in atmosphere in 3.0, with, like, the Aurora, it's a brick. But the Gladius, for example, is going to fly pretty well. The core flight model now has atmospheric flight, having ships feel heavier in atmosphere with the way the IFCS adjusts with them. So they're still working on weather and storms. Some moons like Yella have very little atmosphere, so bear that in mind if it feels floaty when you're flying around there. The whole idea of these changes is to make ships feel better and less floaty in atmosphere based on feedback they've received. So good job. I wanted ships to feel weightier, heavier, or at least somehow being affected by atmospheric flight that was tangibly, I could feel it, rather than the IFCS just constantly adjusting to everything. There will be a lot of adjustments that the IFCS kind of counters. You're going to very, very much notice the gravity and wind and stuff on planets, some of them with stronger gravities, but also if you get damaged, if your thruster gets damaged or something, you're going to really, really notice that. If you're looking for any more information on Crytek versus CIG or the latest PTU 3.0 patch notes, then please check out some of my previous videos, or anything else on Star Citizen for that matter. Apologies if I'm talking slightly oddly or out of breath constantly for this video. I do have quite a bad cold and cough at the moment, and it's quite hard to do any form of audio work, so apologies for that. Every month we have a giveaway. For December, it's now the extra massive Orion mining vessel, donated by our featured org Selfmade, an organisation looking at all types of gameplay with a lawful neutral stance, kind of focusing on developing you as an individual in the game and not being a dick to others. Check them out if you're looking for an org that are active now and will be very active when 3.0 comes out. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that Orion, though, is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen content during the month. Do you have any questions for me about Alpha 3.0, about the latest news, about Squadron 42, about anything, you can chuck them in the comments below. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you're interested in becoming one of them as well, you can find the links to Patreon as well as everything else we've discussed below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I'll see you in the verse. Today has been an eye-opener with about how much I need to breathe and take in oxygen while I record audio, so at least we have that.